Hi everyone, Sean Walbin with Secure Cyber, and this is your weekly cyber update. Well, we have been looking at an article. The FBI is warning of Russian hacks targeting U.S. critical infrastructure. The hackers associated with some of Russia's most prolific cyber espionage units have over the last year been leveraging a vulnerability in older Cisco software to target thousands of network devices associated with critical infrastructure IT systems. The FBI and Cisco advised of this last week. So the hackers working with the Russian Federal Security Service, or the FSB, Center 16, are extracting device configuration information en masse, which can later be leveraged as needed based on the then current strategic goals and interests of the Russian government. Cisco Talos researchers advised in the threat advisory that they published to their blog a week or two ago. This is a big deal. We've been talking about Russian threat actors. We've been talking about China, Iran, North Korea, what we consider the big four. And we really need organizations to step up, especially in the critical infrastructure sector. This can be water, wastewater, power. CISA actually divides critical infrastructure into 16 core areas. We really need to hit that older equipment and get it out of there. So replace the aged old equipment, the equipment that's currently in deployment, that's current, making sure that firmware and software are up to date and that all the recommended security practices are enabled on all of those devices. We'll continue to monitor this type of information very closely because, as you know, water, wastewater, and power are some of the critical areas that Secure Cyber operates in. So this type of article is of grave concern and something that we take very seriously, definitely when working with clients out in the field. Well, this week, Sam Altman, which is the founder of OpenAI and which is affiliated with Chat-GPT, which we are mostly all familiar with, has announced that GPT-6 will be out soon, and it will be bigger and different. This is more of a commentary about Chat-GPT and everything that's going on. It's only 2 years old, folks, and the world is changing rapidly with the adoption of AI-type technology, whether it's U.com, Chat-GPT, Gemini with Google, or utilizing Copilot with Microsoft. Everybody's got to be careful out there. Be very careful. We could probably do an entire episode on just the dangers of AI in general, but organizations that are looking at adopting this type of technology has got to slow down. They're releasing the technology, and even if security was on top of this, the cyber vendors were on top of this, they're releasing the updates incredibly too fast in order for any of us to keep up with it. So I haven't looked in great detail on what Chat-GPT 6 will be. 5 was just released. But just know that AI will lie, first of all. Question it. Don't take every answer that you get from it as the actual answer. You need to look at the footnotes. You need to look at where it got its information. Just because it's providing the footnotes doesn't necessarily mean that that was accurate information or that it got it from an accurate source. So this is just an overall warning. Be very careful about the adoption of AI at your organization and do your homework and slow it down. Don't get the FOMO, fear of missing out. Don't fall victim to that. If your competitor is using AI, don't use that as an excuse to advance your AI adoption just in order to keep up with your competitor. I know that sounds weird and it's easy for me to say sitting in this seat, but I've just got a lot of concerns about AI adoption in general. The last article we have today is really some good news from a hacker perspective. One of the Scattered Spider members is getting 10 years in prison. Noah Michael Urban, he was a key member of the Scattered Spider Cybercrime Collective. He was sentenced to 10 years in prison on Wednesday after pleading guilty to charges of wire fraud and conspiracy in April. This is an important conversation because I get questions out in the field from organizations when they're having suspicious activity going on their network, or maybe they've had an intrusion and they question whether that whether they need to call federal law enforcement, whether it be the U.S. Secret Service, who we have a relationship with, or the FBI. And the answer is yes. Please involve federal law enforcement as much as you can. These are situations where, in order to get these prosecutions, it takes federal law enforcement being involved in order to scrape the indicators, the fingerprints, the indicators of compromise off these networks that have been intruded on or where there's suspicious activity. So it may be one of those situations where they're literally just waiting on one more person to call and let them know that there's been activity on a network. And then when they go to do the forensics on that network, they determine that it's the missing piece of the puzzle that they need for a prosecution. So always keep that in mind. I think over time, we're getting a lot more prosecutions because, quite frankly, there's more of a track record. There's more case history on some of these guys, some of these threat actors. So don't be afraid to call. Involve us if you need to. We're happy to broker the communication between federal law enforcement. But I definitely advise that you stay active with them. That's all we have for this week. Thank you for joining us. Please like and subscribe this video. Subscribe to our channel. Share this with others. And hey, let's be careful out there.